Hello, my name is Sheila Chepkiri from the Organization of African Youth. Karibuni sana to our podcast today on connecting climate action, policy, governance, and youth priorities, and in relation to the 2027 elections that is ahead of us. Today, we are hosted here by the Sikiliza Sauti Yetu project, which is funded by the European Union. We work in strengthening CSOs and community organizations to raise their voices on matters climate action. We work with 4 consortium partners: We World Kenya, the Organization of African Youth, Banfonden, and Crown Trust. And today with me, I have amazing individuals and experts in the room, and we are going to talk about how climate actions, policy, governance, and how we prepare ourselves under these 3 teams towards the 2027 elections. So karibuni sana. We can start with our introductions before we go deep into the waters and look at some of these issues at hand. So we can start with Kahindi. Kahindi, you can introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Sheila. My name is Kahindi James Kalama. I'm an aspiring MCA for Kakoinu, which is in Malindi constituency, Kilifi County, and also serving as the Resource Mobilization and Partnership Coordinator for Association of County Student President in Kenya, abbreviated as ACSAP Kenya. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to share more about climate and also governance and how we look 2027 to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Kahindi. Then we have Njeru.
My name is Terence Njeru from the Green Thinking Action Party, GTAC, serving as the organizing secretary and Nairobi County representative.
My name is Johnson Ongang. I work with this amazing team called Sabigo Group of Friends. We are a youth-led, community-based organization working in Kibera to advance the rights of youth and children. We are working towards creating a generation of self-sustaining youth, a youth that is able to be independent socially, economically, and politically. I'm so much passionate about youth affairs and children's affairs, and I look forward to a productive conversation here as we also gear up for the 2027 general election and what it holds for young people. Asante sana.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Kapanga. I'm a sustainability practitioner with a major focus on climate policy and governance. Currently, I serve as the co-chair of the Kenya Youth Climate Advisory Council, and our major work is ensuring that youth are mainstreamed in policy with regards to policy and governance with regards to climate action. So I'm very glad to be here, and thank you SSY and OAY for this opportunity so that we discuss youth affairs in climate and how politics and policies come in. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, and karibuni sana. Just to start us off and to start this conversation off, we are going to start with something that happened very recently, which is the floods that happened in March 2026. As we all know, one morning or one evening it began raining, and roads turned into rivers, homes were submerged, vulnerable populations like the people in the informal sectors really took a very huge burden of that floods, and many people were left to pick up the pieces. Lives were lost, and there was a lot of property loss, cars and all those things. And I think the question I would then pose to this panel today is, do we think this was a natural disaster, or was it just a failure in planning, in leadership, and in accountability? So we can start with Kapanga.
Thank you so much. So first and foremost, it was so unfortunate that we had to get there for us to really notice there's a problem. And if you remember well, this is not the first time. It happened in 2024 around the same time, and we had it again this year. So to me, it is a blend of both a structural failure and of course a climate crisis, because the Kenya Meteorological Department had warned earlier, and they had warned earlier that there would be floods, flash floods to be specific. There would be heavy rains in Nairobi and other parts of the country. So climate crisis and climate change played a role in this. Then on the structural part, we have a disaster management, a whole disaster management authority in Kenya, and structures within the national and the county government. However, we had to wait till it happened for people to begin to be evacuated and all that. We didn't prepare to tackle the situation. And even after it happened, we've seen the response has not really been so effective because people are still complaining that they have their loved ones who are still missing and they don't know where they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a blend of both the climate crisis and structural issues, structural failure. Yeah.
Okay. And Johnson, what do you think?
Yeah, I resonate fully with my colleague panelists in terms of it being a blend of two. At the same time, we had the same flooding in 2024. I'm tempted to think if we had proper planning in place, then we should have had an early warning system, given that the meteorological department in Nairobi and in the country has been warning of heavy rains coming. As a county government in Nairobi, what did we use this information for? Did we advise our communities to be aware of what was to come? When we are talking about flooding, sometimes we look at it from maybe a level that we understand. But when you're talking about flooding at a Kibera level, is that when our houses get flooded, then there's no option of you going to sleep in your sitting room or going to sleep in your kitchen, because the same house that you use for your sitting room is the same space you use for your kitchen, is the same space you use for your sleeping. So it was quite catastrophic. There's debate on what we need to do as a citizenry, and I'm happy that this conversation will be leading to 2027. When these things happen, then us as a citizen needs to question the kind of leaders you're also putting in place. A leader that is going to respond to our issues, both socially, economically, and politically. Climate change is something that has been here with us. Several things have been made, several efforts have been made. But in terms of planning, especially urban planning, what are our leaders doing? Second, what are we equally doing as a citizenry? How do we go about our waste disposal? Because one of the issues and one of the major issues that we had, especially along Thika Road, those of us that live along Thika Road, was that, yes, it was a system failure because we didn't have proper drainage system, but again, it also trickled down to how us as a citizen also dispose of our waste. So as we are pointing fingers at the system in place, we need to also come to a point where we also question ourselves as a citizen. One, how did we go about electing these leaders? Second, how do we also dispose our waste? So at the moment is a bit on challenging us to look at these things from both sides. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing up the citizen accountability lens, because every day on a daily basis, you see people throwing bottles out of the windows to the highways, and they really don't care what that is causing, the blockages around the drainage and everything. But I also see the part where we really lacked planning, and Kapanga has also brought it up. And so for Njero, I'd just like to take it back again to the system failure and the lack of planning. Who do you think is really responsible for this system failure? Who do you think would have taken the lessons from the 2024 floods and helped us do better during the just recent floods?
Our drainage systems are not the only thing that needs to be looked at.
I
It
agree.
is human activities around. How is our urban planning? Are we building houses anywhere? If you walk along Ngong Road and many other major roads in Nairobi, kiosks and vibandas are along the road. Is it poor planning? Is it that we are encroaching to where spaces that we are not supposed to be in? Or is it that we are neglecting the aspect that environment is affected by human activities? When it comes to planning, we have seen so many high rises in Nairobi. What is the criteria used to bring up this to bring up the infrastructure? What policies, what laws as the Nairobi County government, the national government, and the law in general put up to ensure that we don't encroach into places that are supposed to be protected? It goes back to when Wangari Maathai was fighting for ensuring that we have green spaces in Nairobi, and not Nairobi alone, cities and towns in Kenya. So when it comes to our responsibility, which we call collective responsibility of the citizens, it is us to ensure that our planning is aligned to people we also elect. Because as GTAP, the Green Thinking Action Party, we believe in that whatever is in the mind of the citizen is what is on the hands of that citizen in terms of how they vote, how they cast their ballot, and who they elect. Leaders are a reflection of the citizenry. So if us as citizens are not taking care of the environment, our leaders will act the same. So it is us to understand that sometimes it's system failure, it's bad governance, it brings about what citizens do not steward or do not take care of. So it is up to us, all of us as citizens, to ensure that we elect people who can bring change to our community. But it starts where you are. That sweet wrapper that you have, as small as it could be, if 5,000 of us maybe throw that to a drainage, it blocks that.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, we also have a responsibility to look at policies that we have already made. I think we have good policies in our country, but the implementation of those policies is very poor. We have a climate act of on environment that looks to ensure that we can be able to safeguard, protect, and conserve our environment. If you cut one tree down, how many more are you planting? Equally, it is not about planting trees. How many trees are you growing? Because you could plant a million trees, but how many grow out of the a million? 100. So your impact is measured not by how many you plant, but how growth happens. So when it comes to governance, we have a responsibility as citizens to ensure that we elect the right people who can front and implement the policies already in place.
Thank you, Jerub, and I like that you're taking us back to the era of Wangari Maathai, where she really fought for green spaces, and we're beginning to see the impact of not continuing the legacy that she left us with. You know, if she left 5 green spaces, why would we not advocate for more spaces? And I think that is what is continually harming us. I like that you're bringing up the point of urban planning, and I agree. When you walk along almost everywhere in Nairobi, there are kiosks everywhere. There's a drainage at the bottom and a kiosk on the top. So do we really want to do that as a city? Do we not do we lack space to do business, proper structures, or are we just not planning well enough? And I think that's the question we really need to think about when we are thinking about the Nairobi City County and how we want it to look like in the future, especially towards greening it. And just moving from you and back to Kahindi, who is an aspiring MCA, and I think it would be very prudent for you to take us through what we could have done better. Jeru has raised the issue of the role of the citizen and the role of a leader. What could we have done better, both as a citizen and as a leader, from 2024 to 2025?
It was so unfortunate that we lost many of our people. So, on the role of the citizen, you see, we are playing the bigger part. Most of us, especially young people, we are so ignorant. I live along Kasarani, opposite police station, just the buildings that are there. As you walk to Kise, we have Isipe. and we have dust bins as we are walking. So one time I was crossing, I saw what is the work of the dust bin? To pit or to throw our waste.
Yeah.
But I saw individuals just throwing nylons on the road.
Yeah.
What does that mean? We are not even responsible. We feel like we are not that conscious to think what to protect, how we can protect our environment. Another thing I feel for us as leaders, for me, I'm a leader because I've served in different capacities. One mistake we make is we give jobs, or let's say I'm a governor, so I'm bringing my friends who are not even professionals in the jobs or in different uh, ministries or departments that I'm giving out. So when we have our zeal who is not like aware of what he's supposed to do in that department, that one for sure it can't work.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a teacher. You can't place me in an environment department, or let's say a department that has nothing to do with what I went to school. I went to school for. So that is a big challenge that we have, because our leadership is given, or let's say job is given out by merit.
Yeah.
We don't give people opportunities because they qualify. It is because they know someone in the office and they're given out that opportunity. So that is something as leaders we really also need to check on for prosperity of our country, and making sure that everything we do is dealt, or someone who has skills on it is dealing with it as supposed to be. And lastly, uh, there's a leadership gap, because there's a leadership gap between the citizens, and for this I refer to the young people, because we have the capability now to create the awareness to the wider audience about the environmental conservation. And you see, the first thing is like we are fighting someone. So we don't take it as a responsibility, but as a blame. And I normally say history will never remember those who complained, but those who took part to create the change.
Yeah.
So it is like something we all need to own it, that this is a crisis that has happened. What are we doing with it? Then from there we can have a consensus with the leaders to forge a way forward. Thank you.
Thank you. What I'm hearing Kahindi saying is, first of all, leadership based on merit. Second of all, there is a very large gap around raising awareness. A lot of people do not even know that they need to, that some of those responsibilities are theirs. I remember one time we were in one of the informal settlements, and we were talking about climate, and someone stood and was like, why would climate be one of my agenda? Why would I wake up and think about climate? I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to put food on my table at the end of the day. What does climate have to do with that? And I think that tells us the level of lack of awareness that we have among our citizenship. And I think, Kahili, you've raised very valid points and very valid gaps that we really need to think about as a country. Now, let's pack Nairobi City County and the floods aside, and let's talk about something that I think is very important, which is green jobs.